Welcome to Abridged, a podcast on everything Bracebridge, with your host, me, Mayor Rick Maloney. Well, welcome to our listeners to this edition of Abridged. First-time guest, but I'm sure we'll be back many more times. Welcome Leslie Barrie of the OSPCA, the Muskoka unit of the OSPCA. Leslie, you are the communications or community outreach coordinator. And welcome. You're festive. You're looking, very Christmassy. Join me.
Thank you very much.
And we're here to learn a little bit about the OSPCA. Wanted to start off by we'll get right into it. What does the OSPCA Muskoka branch do? A lot of people have ideas what they do, but tell us a little bit about what services you provide to our community.
Perfect. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and obviously share the services and how we're giving back into the community. So we do adoptions, of course. That's one of our main ones, but we do have a lot of outreach programs. So we do have a humane education program. So it's doing presentations in the school that are fun and interactive between grades 1 to grade 8. It's just really connecting with the younger generation and getting to know about animals, what it really means to love and take care of them. We discuss how long does a parrot live, so they have a realization of how long animals actually live, and what it means again to take care of them and know them. We also have a spay and neuter and wellness clinics that we do as well. So we have 3 Ontario SPCAs that do the low income pricing. So that would be our Barrie, Stouffville, and our Sudbury. But we also have mobile units, which we call MASH, which is a mobile animal service hospital. So they are kind of like pop-up units that we do, again, for low income services, or for those that are on government services, basically. So they would have access to whether it be spay and neuter or core vaccinations and rabies and nail trimming. We do that as well. We do have emergency boarding up to 2 weeks to support anybody that has an emergency case. So if someone going to a hospital, a caseworker is calling because an individual needs support, then we're there. And of course, it's at free of cost as well for an individual of all that we do for them. And then we also have a rehoming profile. We also have a lost and found site. So we help individuals if their animal is lost. We'll try to support them and helping them reconnect with their animal, because that's our main goal, is keeping animals with their loved ones. If someone has some challenges, and whether it's training or what is that looking like, they can connect with us and we'll try to share what we know. But we do usually suggest to contact with your vets they know the best, or a trainer that you already have. However, if you're looking to surrendering because of behavior issues or whatever, we'll try to work with you so that maybe the animal can stay with you. But of course, we understand if it's something in your end result you can't do. And we also have a community rehoming cat, which is a feral cat program that we have as well.
So lots to unpack there. That is a long list of services and programs that you offer. One of the interesting points that I want to explore a little bit more is how you support, the adoption process. We're coming up to, obviously, Christmas. We're all wearing our Christmas outfits here. And, many have heard, this is not the best time to adopt a pet. Maybe you could explain to us the approach over the holiday season for adoption of pets.
Sure. So we are doing a Home for a Holiday campaign right now, and we're looking to, as an organization, as a whole society, our goal is about 500 animals, 4-legged friends, and finding a home. Our own center is 44 animals is our goal to try to find forever homes. Right now we're sitting at 26 4-legged furry friends that have found their lovely families or individual, and we're so thankful for them for opening their hearts and homes. But the Christmas time really is not, it's basically about timing. Most individuals have that extended time to spend with an animal. So if you've really been seriously thinking about adopting an animal, this is the perfect time to adopt, just simply because you have the extra time off of work to get to know the animal gets to know to you, You get to work on training. So again, it's just really about the focus of the time that you have that you can spend with an animal.
Yeah, this is totally different than the approach of, a family member showing up and saying, "We'd like to get a kitty cat for the kids to be under the tree at Christmas." That approach probably not the best. You want to make sure that the adoption process, the family members are involved in that process. There's a kind of a get to know the pet process and things like that. But as you're saying, at Christmas time, if the timing works and you're already made that commitment as a family to get that pet, you will have potentially some extra time to help, uh, reunite or unite that new pet into your family over the holiday season. So it's more of a timing thing, not a whim of let's get a cat for little Sally to have under the tree at Christmas time.
Yes, that's correct, 100%.
Okay, that's an important point. That as I'm sure you've heard the stories of where someone family got a pet and weren't ready for the pet, right?
Mhm. That's correct. And that's where we want to prevent it. We really want to make sure that the animals and the individual are connected. So we do a lot of meet and greets where basically not only do you get to choose the animal, but we believe the animals choose you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are taking a pet home, we want to make sure the four-legged friend and you already have a slight connection, that you kind of know each other, that you chose each other,
Mm-hmm.
because it's only going to grow from there when you get home.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that adopts from the Ontario SPCA and Humane Society, from one of our 13 locations across Ontario, all the animals come with their core vaccinations, their rabies, their microchip, they have their deworming, they come spay and neutered. They also have all the medical forms will go home with the individual. They have a 24-hour vet free call clinic that they can call if anything happens.
Mm-hmm.
There's a code that they can get and it'll be a one-time free time. And then they also get Royal Canin as our supporter. So they will also get kind of like we say, don't need to run out and get the pet food right away. So you'll get a care package from Royal Canin. So
Oh
you'll
yeah.
get dry food and some canned food as well. It's like a starter kit to get you going. And there is a little pamphlet inside that afterwards, when you get home and you're like, we want to register for them, they'll send another free bag to you right directly to your house.
It's kind of like pet dating. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, you're getting to know the pet. Is it a right fit? Your commitment is to the point of, yes, we would like to explore whether this is the right pet for us, type of thing, right? And then, as that relationship for both the pet and the pet owner develops, then you are more, I guess, knowledgeable of what that commitment is all about and whether that's a good fit for you.
That's correct. And also, when it goes against timing, you also have to realize we may not know the history of the animal.
Mm-hmm.
So we can only tell you what we know when they arrived at our center and what we have been working on with regards to training or getting to know them and their behaviors. But that's within the shelter. So when you take them home, now they're
Mm-hmm.
living in a new
Yes.
environment, new house, new people, new surroundings, and we're not aware of what that would look like. They get used to us as individuals wearing our blue suits, but they don't see us in everyday clothing with hats and toques and everything. I mean, they do now through the winter,
Mm-hmm.
but through the summer they don't.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have, and we have our protective PPE that we wear, our personal protective equipment and stuff like that that we use. But like again, you got to think in an animal shelter world, it's very different than when you bring them home. We still love them. We take care of them. They have toys. We have different individuals that come in and volunteer for us, and we are so grateful for them. So they get to interact. They have a lot of great times. We do a lot of enrichment, kind of hiding things on them, let them find it. They have open rooms. They can go outside or inside, whatever they choose to, except for the winter time, of course. And then, of course, we have trails up and behind that are private and strictly just for our team
Mm-hmm.
and for our animals. So they can take walks up through the woods. And then we have like an off leash out front as well. So we do, even the cats, we do a lot of enrichment as well. And again, we have lots of room. The dogs get out lots of times. And same with the cats. They can go in and outside whenever they want, when, of course, the weather's permitting and
Mm-hmm.
able to, not during the winter.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody's more than welcome to come and visit our cats at any time. We're happy to explain who they are. We do one-on-one. So in one of our canine or ACAs, which is our animal care attendants, will be with you and kind of go over their behaviors, what we know about them, where they came from, and disclose any medical that we are aware of. In canines, we always say one-on-one because we just can't go down that side. It's hard on their mental health. You might have a dog
Mm-hmm.
that's super excited to see you and
Mm-hmm.
you walk past them and you have to think on their mental health. What does that
Mm-hmm.
mean to them?
Exactly.
And then they might cry or start barking, and then we might have another animal who's super scared and then they hear the barking. So it's just not really feasible or good for mental health on our canines. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why we have to book one-on-one appointments.
Yeah, what I it's always impressed me, just is how OSPCA is taking those steps to make sure that a pet that in some cases might have had a very challenging start to life is is not being re-traumatized, and the care that you're providing to these animals, and the fundamentally built on love for the pets, but that understanding that there is a mental health side to animals. That's amazing.
Very much connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that maybe we can explore a little bit is what work you do, or your team does, to provide the right fit to the right pet and pet owner. Like, someone comes in, they might have an idea of, yeah, I'd like a shepherd, or I'd like a breed, or whatever it might be. But then you find out in talking to them that they're maybe not able to get that dog out into a run or a walk, or like they don't have the kind of functional stuff for meeting the dog's needs, right? So maybe talk a little bit how you make that, you know guide pet owners to what might work best for them.
Certainly. So when anybody comes in and they're saying like, I want to see a small breed, we're very honest in saying we rarely at the Muskoka Animal Center get a small breed. Most of our dogs are actually Shepherd or Alaskan,
Mm-hmm.
or we have like Alaskan Husky, sorry, or a Massive. Those are the main breeds that we usually get. But basically, when someone comes in and they're saying, this is what I'm looking for, before they get to meet any of our animals, we kind of sit down with them and say, what are you looking for? What are the needs? Do you have any experience with these animals? If they change the breed on us, then we'll say, what do you know about the breed? Because each breed is very unique and
Mm-hmm.
different. We know some of their behaviors. It's embedded in them. It's
Mm-hmm.
what it is. Like a
Mm-hmm.
beagle is a hunting. A husky has high anxiety. They're workers. They need something to do. So we kind of know their behaviors on them. Besides what we don't know of an animal, that whatever happened to them in their first life, we're taking care of them in their second, and we hope their new chapter would continue to grow and develop with those things. That's why timing is so important. But we really want to go through all of the animals to make sure, what do you have that you understand about an animal, understand the needs, can you meet the needs of the animal? We will go through the behavior and address some of those things. Sometimes an animal will need a couple more visits with an individual. So, meaning if they're like, I want this dog, we might say, hold on, we need to work on this. So you, before we can say, yes, this is a perfect match, you need to come back 3 or 4 times. If they're really committed and invested in that dog, they will come back three or
Mm-hmm.
four times
Mm-hmm.
to visit. And we've had lots of individuals that have come back 3 or 4 times to meet the animal and spend time with them and get to know them. It's just because that animal is extra nervous. Maybe the first visit was okay, but we're still holding back because there's things that we want to work on with the animal, and we want to make sure it is actually the right fit. So really, it's a lot of questioning. It's a lot of going through, what do you have? And then through explaining, the way we explain things is to be like, is this really a good fit for you? If it's really not a good fit, that we see that it's not going to work out, the animal's really scared and upset, then we would say, look, this is not the right fit. They're just not connecting with you in a way. But maybe some other time down the road, we'll have another dog, or keep looking is kind of where we go. Anybody that has another animal, like another dog, and they're investing in another dog, we will always say, come with the dog on
Mm.
your one-on-one
Good
meet,
point.
because it's not just the person, it's the
Yeah.
other dog.
Yeah.
So there is a scenario situation where the dogs will They never are nose to nose. They actually stand on one side of our parking lot, and our canine enrichment is on one side of the
Okay.
parking lot with ours, and they have theirs. And we just see the body language of their dog and our dog, and they'll say, okay, take a step forward. And then we just take a look. So the canine will kind of guide the person what it looks through. It's not like they're, running free together in the off leash park or
Mm-hmm.
walking side by side.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally their parking side on either side, and
Yeah.
they'll go step by step by step. And obviously, there are times where the two dogs are not interacting or
Yes.
jiving. We'll
Yeah.
just say, this is not a right fit. They're
Yeah.
both not, it's not going to be something that they're going to overcome with the way they're reacting with each other.
So does your team, I'm sure, working with the animals that you do, you have good instinct on what works and what doesn't work. And I'm sure if we were at the OSPCA today, you could point out, animals that, and their characteristics and their demeanor that would, guide a person in their choice too. So I'm thinking about that kind of meeting of the sibling dog, we'll call it, and you wouldn't have presented that option, adopted animal option to the family if you knew that that dog was not a good dog to partner with another animal, right?
Perfect. We're very honest what we know about the animals. So we disclose anything about medical to the person one on one that's making that appointment. And if we know they have high energy, they're more of a runner, they're not someone that stops right away, that's when we will kind of look at the animal and say, this is not the right fit for a small child.
Mm-hmm.
Or possibly if their prey drive is super high, again, a high energy would say they're not the right fit for a small child or another animal in the house. Just simply because their prey drive and the energy is so much. Not that they're going to hurt anybody. It's just sometimes they get super excited
Mm-hmm.
and they don't mean to, but they might knock someone over. And
Mm-hmm.
we just don't want to take that chance.
Mm-hmm. Geriatric pets. What can you share about that and what the OSPCA does to support that, an aging pet?
So we have right now, for example, we do have a cat that's at our center, and she is 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we get an older individual, or sorry, an older four-legged furry friend that comes in, we take care of them just like everybody else. Sometimes all animals need something special in their own life, whether they're older or younger. It doesn't really matter. So right now, Callie is very shy and quiet, and she came from a home where she was like basically the only one. So what we do is just basically she has her own room right now, and we love her to death. Sometimes we have a lot of curtains and we have blankets that we put up and around, lots of climbing places. The lights on dim, and sometimes we put classic music on because
Oh,
it's
wow.
very, yeah, classic or jazz. We have little projectors that we put in the rooms, old style CDs to get out. Haven't seen CDs in quite
Yeah.
some time,
Yeah.
but yeah, you come into our inner center and you might be like, why is there like a jukebox in there with some CDs? But it's because it's calming to them.
Yes. Yeah.
So we'll play it and just go. Obviously, we will feed them appropriate food depending on their age.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we don't know what foods they like and don't like, so we'll do some test samples. So we have a
Mm-hmm.
platter that we put out. We'll put like 4 different types of food in it.
Oh, wow.
And then we'll lay it out. Obviously, it's not large amounts, but we'll lay it out and we'll see and we'll mark and name them all so that we know what they're eating and what they're not eating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Kind of a, it's an important part of, I'm sure there's rescues, older pets. We talked briefly about, pets that have been left. Perhaps the pet owner has passed or had to move into a different living arrangement or whatever it might be. There's many, many circumstances on why an animal might end up at the OSPCA.
Yeah.
And so you kind of triage that, and I'm sure every pet has kind of a reintegration plan or an approach that you want to do with that particular pet that you believe will work best for the pet. In some cases, if it's an older pet, you know, um, well, maybe you can share what an older pet versus a younger pet, and how the different kind of I guess reintegration plan you have for that pet or that
Certainly.
animal.
So when any animal comes in, we do a wellness check. So
Yeah.
it's not only physical, but it's mental as well. If we know the history and someone's surrendering them, and honestly, 90% of the time they're leaving really upset, it's a very last
Mm-hmm.
thing that they want to do.
Absolutely.
It's because personal things in their lives are happened.
Mm-hmm.
So we need people to understand that. So when an animal does come in, if they've disclosed how they were living, how the animal was and interacts. Of course, we know the first 1 or 2 days it's going to be different with us, just simply because now they're in a different environment, new smells, might be able to hear another animal the odd time, or people coming and going from cleaning, right?
Hmm.
So we know their behavior is going to change. So what we do is we have actually behavior color charts. So we notice all of what's going on with the animal. We'll make note of it, and each team member is very aware of it. And we kind of do certain things. So if they're very shy and skittish and etc., we're very fear-free believers, and we don't force animals to do anything they don't want to do. So if a cat is really scared and they're staying inside their crate, that's okay. That's okay. I don't want to be forced out of my room if I was scared too,
Yeah,
right? So that's
exactly.
okay. We'll
Yeah.
leave them and we have it covered so they can come out whenever they want in a nice quiet place. If it's over extended time, we don't want their FAS to really kick in, which is a lot of over adrenaline building up. So then we'll just put some treats on the inside. We're still not reaching in to grab them. We never do that. We'll do some treats. We'll lay it out. We'll do certain things that we do. Sometimes it's a matter of toys, but mostly it's treats. They'll come out for or food on their own.
Mhm.
It's best to let them come out on their own, but we encourage it. But we again, it's very fear free. If we know an animal is, it really depends on their behavior. If we have an animal that's their behavior, we're unsure of what to do about it. We do have an animal behavior specialist at all the centers that we can reach out to. They specialize in this. They give us tips and tricks and tools of what we should be doing, and they will come to our site and do an assessment on the animal as well. And then once we know all the assessments that are done and we're working with the animal, once they're ready for adoption, we never put them up for adoption unless we know as much details as we can about an animal, or we've worked on some of the behaviors that we wanted to work on. So let's say an animal is super scared and now they're becoming more lovey-dovey and they're going through, not all animals are going to be lovey-dovey. For example, if we have a feral cat that comes in and they've been living out in the world for 3 or 4 years and they were brought in as a stray, we do the best to reach out and find their forever home, or like their family. We want them to go back to their family. But if we cannot touch them by any means, because they're a little bit on the feral side
Hmm.
and nobody has walked in to claim them, legally over time we're allowed to flip them into adoption. And if we still can't touch this cat, then what we do is we have a working cat program. So what that means is we know this cat is never going to be a lovey-dovey. So why are we forcing it to change its personality to be something it's not going to be?
Hmm.
I wouldn't want somebody to change my
It's
personality.
kind of like old man syndrome,
No,
right?
that's
Like
right.
I'm stuck in my ways,
Yeah.
right?
So what we do is we obviously do the vaccinations, the spay and neuter as well, and we look for. We have a program where an individual can register. They watch a video. They promise that they're going to love them and take care of them by means of giving them food and water and a
Mm.
warm place to go. So they usually end up at a farm
Uh-huh.
or say an auto shop,
Yep.
or a large garage that needs them,
Hmm.
or even like a manufacturing company. So it's kind of like they're working for free. They're
Hmm.
helping keep the
Hmm.
rodents
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
and in turn, you're going to give them food,
Yeah.
water, warmth, and they're around the shelter.
Yeah.
So that's what we do for animals like that. So it again, I can't really say all that we do. It really depends on the animal, but just know that as a team, we are all trained on behaviors, and we do follow a chart that we have. It's a color coded chart depending on where they're on that chart. And again, we have an animal behavior specialist that guides us if we have any questions, we're unsure about things, and he or she will come out and do an assessment. And then she will give us a training guide that we will do, and we will work on the animal. And then when an individual comes, when we have that one-on-one conversation, we will let them know what we've been working on,
Hmm.
what the animal has already overcome, and what they need to continue to do
Hmm.
as an ongoing.
Hmm. Um, One of the things that you mentioned in the kind of long list of things that you do, which is amazing, is support for pet owners who are, you know, maybe running against some challenges. So I know you have a relationship with the food bank,
Yep.
um, support for the health of the pet when a pet owner is challenged that way. So tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
those supports that are provided when a pet owner is running against up against the wall a little bit.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, so one of them again is the food distributing program. So throughout Muskoka, we have several food banks right now. In fact, I have two that are picking up for me this afternoon. I'm going to help load their vans of pet food. And sometimes it's collars, leashes, pee pads. It's cats and dogs mostly, but we do sometimes get some gerbil and some rabbit as well. And we want to give back. We want to ensure that individuals are not taking food from their own mouths and feeding it to their pets, which we totally understand. They're like a child. Mine is like my child as
Mm-hmm.
well. But we want them to continue eating the food that they need, and we will take care of their pets. So I can honestly say this year so far in Muskoka, and we hope to grow and develop a program next year. We have about 17,662 pounds that have been
Wow.
delivered out through Muskoka as of today's date.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
And
it's
that's all like all donated foods, right?
that is all donated foods. Yep. Some of it is through our community. I just did a food and supply run from November the 22nd to yesterday, December the 8th, and we got close to 1,200 pounds of food.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I'm
Amazing.
now distributing it out between them all.
Yeah.
And so we
Yeah.
try to do our best. Not only when someone donates to us, we're very honest in saying, thank you. We are so appreciative, like so appreciative. People don't understand how appreciative we are. Because as a registered charity, non for profit, we don't receive any government funding.
Mm-hmm.
So the money that we get, or the linen, or the food that we get, it all goes towards our animals. But when we have enough, and we've obviously taken a little bit extra just for in case when we start to get a little bit low, we have a backup emergency code. But then we give back. So we will reach out to the other charities. We will reach out to the other rescues. We do reach out to the men's and women's shelters. We do reach out to the Salvation Armies. And anybody else who has a community support, like Les, we be on your list? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
call me.
Mm-hmm.
Send me an email at lbarrie@ontariospca.ca. Whenever we have something, we are willing to give back. We do a lot of programs outside, like crafting for critters, and we just did a pet first aid certificate. We're doing things that, yes, it's by donation to enter, but really it's about giving back to the community.
Yeah.
We really want to encourage and let people know who we are and what we do.
Yeah, and that's a good segue into a question I had is, we've talked a lot about what the OSPCA does. There's things that you don't do, and that there's maybe some folks have a misconception on, if they find a pet that is, apparently maybe wandering the neighborhood or lost or whatever. Oh, we better call the OSPCA. Well, that's not necessarily the call you make, right? So explain maybe the lanes that you have and the lanes that other organizations have when it comes to pet rescue and pet safety.
Perfect. Yeah. So it is a myth that we are not PAWS. So PAWS is an provincial animal welfare services, and basically, I always say they're kind of like the investigators, the police. So if you feel like an animal is being mistreated in any way or neglected in any way, then you want to call PAWS. They are the individuals that will come out, do a full investigation, do the reports. That is their part of their services. If an animal is running around loose and you're concerned and you're worried, then whatever township you're in, you want to call that bylaw.
Mm-hmm.
That bylaw will come and retrieve the dog, and they will bring it to the rescue that they have a contract with.
Mm-hmm.
So in some areas, that is with us, so they will bring the dog to us.
So Bracebridge has that relationship
That's
with you.
correct. Bracebridge does, and some of the other townships do as
Mm-hmm.
well, but some other townships don't, and they're connected with another rescue.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we would say you have to connect with the township of the bio or the house or the town that you live in.
Yes.
Just simply because some people are going to start calling them first.
Yes.
So I know it's always I want to grab them and bring them to the nearest rescue. But it's always best to call bylaw because then you have two organizations that are searching and looking for that family instead of one. We do have, I'm so thankful, I've had 16 community boards that have allowed me to enter and post certain things on it. So I'm very privileged and grateful for that. It's not always a way to get in, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely with the 16 posts and then with the 3 lost and found, We always manage to find their forever homes, and then we always manage to find that family that has lost them, because they're out there searching high and low
Hmm.
for that
Hmm.
animal. So we're happy to connect. If someone's lost them, please connect with us. Send an email to Muskoka at Ontario SPCA. Send us a picture with a description of the animal, and we put it on our lost and found board. So if one comes in, we look at our lost and found board right away.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's not always microchipped or has a collar with a tag on it. So then it's a a mystery, for us to go out and try to find them, which again, we do for an extended time.
Yeah. You do a little bit of forensic, or maybe quite a bit of forensic, to try to find, that home, which leads to a question. So, pets that leave the OSPCA or come in and leave, are they all chipped?
Yes,
Yes. So every animal that comes through your doors would leave with a chip.
that's correct, except for animals that are going back to their homes.
Okay.
So if they were stray found and came back in, we don't do any procedures to them because we don't own them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. We're getting close, believe it or not, to the end of our time, but I wanted to just kind of touch on a couple things. We've talked about, the adoption piece. We've talked a little bit about the donation piece, not so much about the volunteer. And so many great volunteers help support your organization. And maybe tell us about those volunteer opportunities and I guess the kind of benefits of volunteering at the OSPCA.
Sure. Oh, if I may go back to the other one first.
Sure, go ahead.
I just forgot to mention that if an animal does come that's a stray and is injured or has fleas and ticks, of course we're going to support them and
Yeah,
help them that way. So
yeah.
I don't want people to think we don't take care of them. We
No,
definitely take care of
yes.
them. We just can't go and spay and neuter them and do services that are not needed or required because we don't have
I
permission
don't
to
think
do so.
anyone who is going
But
to listen to
I
this podcast
just
will
wanted to make
will
sure.
will leave thinking that you don't care for pets. I tell
I
you.
just wanted to make that clear. You never know.
But
Um,
going back to the volunteer
Foster.
opportunities and what that.
We have lots of volunteers opportunities. So we have fosters, and we're always looking for volunteers. So if you are interested, whether it's working with an animal or not, go to the Ontario SPCA.ca and click on volunteer. We have van drivers that, because we don't have a local vet on site, meaning our spay and neuter is actually done in Barrie and Stouffville.
Hmm.
So we need individuals that wake up bright and early. Thank you to all of you. You know who you are. Are up at 6 a.m. in the morning,
Wow.
loading up the van and bringing them to Barrie and Stouffville, and then they're going back to pick them up at 3 o'clock. Sometimes we have transfers, so we have animals from other Ontario SPCAs that come and go. Why do we transfers? Well, because they came from another rescue. The rescues are doing an amazing job. It just means they're full and they have a wait list.
Yes.
So they reach out for support and asking, can someone take the animals we currently have so we can take in more? So we do that as well. And also, besides all of our van drivers, we have cat enrichments. So they do spend times with our cats. They come in and play with them. Part of it, that role though, is a little bit of dishes and a little bit of laundry. Now you're not doing it the whole entire time. It's just a little bit, and spending some time with cats. And then we have our canine enrichment. Again, they are doing the laundry and dishes and then helping out with the canines as too. All of our team have radios to communicate with each other. All of them have access to toys, the treats. Obviously, all of them have been trained on the areas of how to handle certain scenarios and situations. Safety is our number one goal. And then they can walk the dogs up in the woods or in trails. But again, they would be guided by our team as to what animals they are allowed to take out, and what animals they can see, just due to various scenarios and situations. Maybe there's ones that aren't ready for adoption and we
Hmm.
know why. So we're working with them a little bit more one on one, which would be the team direct rather than a volunteer. And then outside of our organization, someone wants to do landscaping, they're more than happy to help us. And then we have the outreach program, which is basically going to markets, certain events, parades,
Hmm.
going into schools or humane education, again, teaching kids Green One Day interactive, fun way. So there's lots of ways that you can be directly involved with the animals. What I do have a lot of people saying, I can't go in there because I'll come out with 20 animals in my pocket. Like, I can't do that. And that's fine. That's totally fine. I have a lot of volunteers that work with me on my side, which is out in the public. Yes, we do have fun events in the front room at the center, so they do get to see the animals once in a while, but they don't have to come if they don't want to. But you know what, being out in the booth is so much fun. We hear so many stories about,
Mm-hmm.
I adopted so and so, and look
Mm-hmm.
how they're doing. And
Mm-hmm.
I do work at the center sometimes, so it's so grateful for me to see some of the animals that I
Mm-hmm.
have been with, or even I foster as well myself.
Mm-hmm.
To see some of the animals that I had fostered,
Yeah,
and getting reports. It's just such a loving feeling, and
it
knowing
is.
that whether I'm at the center working with them one on one, or I'm outside of the center, that I'm supporting an organization that is supporting individuals in need and supporting animals in need, and connecting the two of them together. And it's a tough time, Christmas time,
Yes.
and not only for the animals but for individuals. So the more that we can do to support the both. So again, if you ever in need and you need support in pet food, please reach out to your local food bank, or reach out to us at the Ontario SPCA. But your food bank would be your go-to, because we are supplying majority of them with food.
Yeah.
And food banks out there, I guess the thing to you is, if you're not on our program, give me a call,
Yeah. And
or
get
send
on
me
it.
send me an email at the OntarioSPCA.ca. We're happy to help if we can.
Leslie, what a great positive note to kind of finish things up. I wanted to, first of all, thank you. Earlier this fall, I was at a chamber event that you hosted, and to hear you and your team speak about all the great work that you do, all the care you provide. And as I said earlier in the podcast, this is the foundation of this is love, right? And really wanted to thank the entire team for all you do. And we're certainly, as I started off by saying, first time guest, but you're going to come back. You're going to come back, and we're going to have another chat in the spring. Matter of fact, to a little teaser, uh, we may be moving Abridged podcast recording to the OSPCA, and do a segment while we're at the OSPCA. So looking forward to that, maybe in the new year at the right time. Wish you all the best of the holiday season. Thank you for coming in, and look forward to hearing more about all the great work that you do.
Right, thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun. I love sharing. I'm very passionate about what I do, and the team is as well. And we're just excited to. This is another bonus for us to share who we are, what we do, and all the services that we have, and how we're supporting the community. So I appreciate you so much for allowing me to come and do
Wow.
this and share what we do. And I'm definitely looking forward to cast
Yeah.
to the next one. So
Yes.
keep your eyes open. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
We're looking for a guest for that podcast that will be in, maybe not in their comfort zone with the animals going around. So, yeah, that'll yet to be determined who that is, but we're looking forward to that opportunity. Thanks again, and look forward to our next opportunity to chat.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Okay, bye.
That's a wrap on this episode of Abridged. Thanks to my guests for taking the time to join me today. This podcast was produced in the Dr. Ted Joe recording studio at the Colson Family Bracebridge Library. Thanks for listening, and be sure to join me on our next episode, where we talk everything Bracebridge.